What is going on, everyone? Tim from Tierfon Orbital. So, going to switch it up today. I am going to do a demo video, and I'm going to talk about an install that I completed, but I also want to talk a little bit about Canon Y. Why? Why do I want to talk about Canon Y? Wow, terrible joke, Tim. So, Canon Y. Canon Y flash assembly, Canon Y mount assembly, commonly used in, actually, I'm sorry, it's not commonly used. I don't often see Canon Y flash assemblies or switch assemblies being used anymore. Reason being, in my opinion, they're getting harder and harder to find these Canon Y parts. A couple of months ago, actually this is almost a year ago now, I was lucky enough to find and source a Canon X assembly, and I put it in my personal mining colony build. I love the unique look of the Canon Y assembly. We use a lot of flash gun parts in lightsaber building, especially when you're building scraps. You use a lot of flash gun parts. So I've used Graflite handles, Graflex. The Graflex switch or flash mount assembly is commonly used. But the Canon Y is a little bit more unique in my opinion. It's got a smaller form factor, and it's really, well, at this point, I've nailed down adding switches to that switch assembly, or that underneath that clamp card, right? I just really, really love the look of a Canon Y. I actually have one. So I mentioned that Canon X, I got a really, really good find on a Japanese eBay site and found a Canon Y flash unit. Now, again, these are super hard to find nowadays. I really got lucky with this one. It's even in the box, and I'll break it out and show everybody. It comes with the flash bulb. So here for the flash lens. So this is it. This is a Canon Y flash gun assembly. So many of these parts can be used for scrap flex builds. Love it. So we've seen this grip before. I've used a grip like this for my personal scrap SK. I don't even know what I call it anymore. But obviously here is that switch assembly that I'm talking about. So we used it as a switch assembly, but this is actually how the flash gun handle mounts to the camera. So technically it's a flash mount assembly, but we use it as a switch assembly in saber building. I love the latch here. I love the look of Canon Y switch assemblies. So all of this stuff up here, like a lot of this stuff can be used as parts. So a lot of cool stuff to salvage out of these, but they're just getting harder and harder to find. I feel like they're just so rare. Maybe they didn't make as many as they did, as Graflex did, but they're super rare, super hard to come by. So I'm actually saving this one. I'm probably going to save this for maybe a special build, or maybe even just save it as a display, because it really is nice. I mean, it came with the bag and everything, the vinyl bag. It smells old. All right, so enough about Canon Ys. The reason being, this is a mining colony build, so it's actually a customized mining colony hilt that was done by Nevin at Space Junk Sabers. The client already had this hilt. So the client is a gentleman by the name of Frank Starkiller, so I've done his install for him. I've talked about mining colony before. Really, really love the modular parts that they offer. I'm pretty sure that the upper section, like the entire upper section of this hilt, is mining colony parts, and the grip is a Canon Y, flash gun, and there's obviously a Canon Y control box in here. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I'm just now realizing that there's a Canon X like shroud piece on here as well. We'll get into it when we do an up and close. But yeah, really love the mining colony platform. I'm looking forward to them offering parts again soon here. So I have one. I have a personal mining colony, and I've talked about this before, how much I love it, right? So I put the same threaded chassis that I have put in previous mining colony builds into this install. So let's talk about it, right? So I'm not going to get into fusion. I've done that before in some past videos. It's the same chassis, but I do want to talk about the install. So let's come up top. So here it is. This is a mining colony scrap build. This is from Nevin at Space Junk Sabers, and was sent to me by the client for install, okay? So we'll start at the bottom, right? We've got a pommel that does unscrew. You don't need to screw that to use the hilt. Here is that Canon Y. So this is this is a Canon Y flash gun handle, but it's been knocked back to the brass. I mean, I actually didn't even know that that was an anodized or chrome-plated brass on the Canon Ys until I saw this. I love this. I love that they retained that red text. I love seeing that. I love seeing the microsync around back. Just a really, really rad piece of kit, okay? This is from a Canon X flash gun. And the reason I can tell is because the Canon X has these like kidney-shaped cutouts in them. These are even harder to find than the Canon Ys. I actually, like I said, I got lucky with one. I don't think the seller even knew it was a Canon X. And sold it to me, right? So grip does unscrew. Here is that switch assembly, Canon Y switch assembly. So I've got two tactile switches underneath this clamp card that serve as your main and your aux. Really, really love that. I just love the Canon Y switch assembly, right? So making our way up, mining colony emitter, pretty sure. So here is another Canon Y part. So this you can find these on the upper flash bulb assembly. And again, knocked back to the brass. It just looks great. Really, really, really cool looking hilt, right? So let's talk about how to use this guy. You'll notice that there is some mesh in these windows here. I really, really wanted to get some sort of shine through these windows. Unfortunately, because of the way my chassis is designed, and the room that I needed for the battery and everything, I wasn't able to get like neopixels or anything up here for shine through. I have seen this used as like a crystal marble reveal. I can't remember who did that build, but I really, really love the look of that. But unfortunately on this one, I wasn't able to get any shine through, okay? So to get at your chassis, you unscrew your grip. This is a threaded chassis. So I've talked about this in my previous mining colony builds. This is completely unnecessary to do this. Okay, so I understand that this is just it's totally extra, right? I could have gotten away with making some sort of PCB holder in here or even doing a static chassis, but the first time I saw these mining colony hilts and noticed that there was threads on the inside, I figured, I might as well try a threaded chassis myself. So that's what this is. Gave it the rub and buff treatment. Did do some painted accents as well to make things pop. We've got a 28mm Smuggler's Outpost bass speaker down here. Proffie board sits here, does slide up underneath that lip to secure. Kill switch. There is a 2020 neopixel strip here for some animation. Okay, so we do have some onboard neos. Just wasn't able to get it on the shine through, right? And that's it. Battery tray is here. And there's our PCB. This is a 6-rail PCB from Stardust Sabers. Okay? So, to use your hilt, flat part is your negative, spring side is your negative. Put the battery in negative side towards the speaker, and you're ready to go. So there is a kill switch here. There's that shine through. So what I do with this particular chassis, so these neopixels, when I design the chassis, I create a channel inside of the chassis. And before I wire up my speaker, I slide that neopixel strip into that channel and then tape this off. So this was printed in clear translucent resin. And then I went back with some Tamiya black, taped this off, and here we are. Okay. So once you get your battery in, you can thread the chassis into the upper part of the hilt. Just screw it until it stops, okay, and you're ready to go.
I'm Cal Kestis.
So some of the fonts have different animations on that shine through.
The NASA team is ready for launch.
Okay. And that's it, right? So once you get your battery or your chassis in, slide your grip on and screw it in until it stops. So let's come down here. So Nevin did include, so the client did include, I guess Nevin did include this with the build as well. There is a blade plug in here, right? So you want to take that blade plug out before you put your blade in. I do have a lit PCB emitter in here. So let's get a blade in it. All right. So a really handy dandy knurled thumb screw is here. That will serve as your blade retention. Get your blade, slide it down so it's resting on those PCB pins. Tighten your thumb screw. You're ready to go. What else we got? Bunch of different blade styles on here.
Watch this.
Watch what?
Yeah, great Hilt. Sounds really good. What else do we have? One more.
Father's light saber. This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight.
So this has been set up with color wheel. To get to your color wheel, you want to hold down aux and tap main. When you find a color you like, you just tap main again, and it'll lock that in. So on the clamp card to the client, top is your main, bottom is your aux. Okay. Great Hilt. Great Hilt. So that's it, right? Nice quick talk on the Canon Y flash gun assembly. Again, I really love the unique look of the Canon Ys. I just wish that they were easily sourced. You know, I wish we could find them easier, but here we are, right? So anyhow, to Frank Starkiller, thank you very much for trusting me with your install, man. To the viewers, thank you very much for your support. If anyone has any questions, please don't be a stranger. And with that being said, may the force be with you always. Thanks for watching, everybody.